Today we are going to recap everything we know about Moff Gideon before Season 2 of The Mandalorian hits. Now, I have to say, Moff Gideon is a great villain, and I expect a lot more out of him in Season 2, especially in the Darksaber department. With that said, let's get into everything we know so far about Moff Gideon. During the Empire's reign, Moff Gideon was an officer of the ISB. Gideon was also part of the Great Purge of Mandalorians. This resulted in the Empire taking all Beskar and killing the majority of the Mandalorian people, forcing them into hiding. We also know that at some point during or potentially after the Purge, Gideon came into possession of the Darksaber, and with the current news, he is apparently very skilled with the weapon. Moff Gideon also faked his own execution for the war crimes he had committed after the fall of the Empire, and 9 years later, he ended up leading one remnant of the Empire and their forces, while also attaining the rank of Moff. Around this time is when Moff Gideon wanted to acquire a specific asset we all know about, the Child, which was located on Arvala 7. Moff Gideon put the client, who is still unnamed, in charge of attaining the Child, alive by any means necessary. Beyond his desire to acquire the Child, we are unaware of Moff Gideon's full intentions. However, knowing that the Child can harness the Force, I imagine that this is the reason that the Moff is interested in the Child. Moff Gideon is also privy to the information regarding Greef Karga, Cara Dune, and Din Djarin, which plays into a personality trait of being a master of psychological warfare. The Moff will also kill anyone who stands in the way of any of his goals, as demonstrated by killing his own people for either failing him, like the client, or merely interrupting him. And circling back to psychological warfare, Gideon is basically able to manipulate his enemies by observing their actions acutely and playing off that information. And Moff Gideon, based on the final 2 episodes of Season 1, is also a highly adept pilot, flying a TIE fighter to overwhelm Din Djarin at the end of Episode 8. So for now, this is really all that we know about the main villain in The Mandalorian. As I said, I've been very impressed with this villain. I love that he wears a cape. I love that it harkens back to a Vader vibe, and another thing I love about this character is how over-the-top, arrogant, and self-assured he can be when interfacing with enemies. Esposito did a fantastic job at making this character his own thing, and to be frank, I'm frightened of Moff Gideon. So that does it for everything we know about the Moff, and I can't wait to see Season 2 hit in November. AT-AT Chat signing off.